Hello, welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage on a beautiful Friday afternoon. I got a few minutes to kill before the school bus comes, so what better time to have a talk with you? We are in the calm before the storm. The wind is picking up slightly, but a hurricane of some sort is headed our way. By this time tomorrow afternoon, it should all be over. Hopefully, it's a dud and it goes out to sea, and nobody's life is adversely affected, other than most of us here, knowing we're in the path of it, at least with modern technology, we know it's coming. Like, for instance, a mariner called and said, you gotta pull your boat out. The big one can stay, the little one has to go. We're preparing as best we can for the worst. So I was gonna have to pull it in maybe 3 or 4 more weeks. I can put it back in if I want to. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But anyway, quick story. As you can see, I now have a second hydraulic table cot, lift cot, whatever you want to call it. Cot, somebody's gonna make fun of my accent now. It's okay. I bought this one from Jegs, the yellow, probably gave it away, maybe 2 years ago, and I use it every day. The problem is, 2 problems. This one's rated for 500, this one's rated for 1,000 pounds. When I bought this, A, I was too thrifty to spend a few more dollars on the one I really needed and wanted. And 2, I wanted to see if it would work. I had done some measurements. And as it turns out, a Turbo 400 with a deep pan, this is the right height, it'll slide right into my bench mount for my saddle so I can service the transmission on the bench. And same as removing it, I can jack it up, just barely take the strain off it, pull it on to the cart, and unload it and load and unload out of vehicles. I always wished it had a little more lift. I knew from the measurements they give you that this one would be borderline acceptable, and it's done a great job. It's really saved my back. I love it. But September 1st, the beginning of Labor Day weekend, I knew Harbor Freight was having a 25% off sale. I stopped by my local store. I was in the town anyway, and brought the little card up to the cash register, and they said they'd have to order me one, but if I paid for it then, I would get the $92 off, which is pretty good. So I paid for it September 1st. And the manager said he would put my name on one that was coming in the following week. Sounds good. I knew I'd be back down midweek anyway, so that's what happened. I stopped in, and they said they had one in stock, but it had somebody's name on it. I gave them my information. I didn't say my name out loud. And in the subsequent weeks, they said, well, that one's taken, but call next week. We got another one coming in next week. So that's happened. Today's what, the 15th? I don't know, middle of the month. So it's been 2.5 weeks. And every time they told me to call on whatever day, I would. And they said it was spoken for, the one that they had. Today, I decided just to check stock. I was going down there anyway, and sure enough, they got one in stock. I called them up, got the same guy that sold it to me on the 1st. I said, hey, you have one in stock. Can I have it? No, that's already paid for, waiting for it to be picked up. I said, what's the name on it? I don't know, let me check. My name. You see how the thing's been sitting there the whole month? They did the same thing last summer. I bought a toolbox, 6 weeks. I would call back with it. I wasn't being a pain like calling every day, but they tell me to call on Thursday. I call on Thursday. I look at the, I'm watching a mosquito fly by here. I can see on the box my name's on it. You know, all they had to do, and my phone number, which is correct. Got it. So, today, I managed to get out and get it, assemble it. Now the box was filleted open, and there was parts, nuts and bolts laying in the bed of my truck by the time I got home, but somehow, miraculously, all the hardware was there. All you have to do is put this handle on. So it's, 4 Allen head bolts, 4 nuts, 4 flat washes and 4 lock washes, but they were all there. So, and they give you bleeding procedures and stuff, but I've never bled either one. They go up and down all the way. They work just fine. This one also came with a rubber top that I don't use. I have it on a bench over there. This will suffer the same fate because for me, I need to be able to spin the transmission around. It's always on the cart the wrong way or whatever, depending on which bench you're putting it on. And this whole thing's gonna be a mess. It's not anchored down. Much better for a bench cover, and I just use a good old piece of cardboard. For this afternoon, now that I have it assembled, it becomes an excellent flat surface to work on. And I'm making decisions. This whole video is about decisions. In this case, my 6-liter ATK engine that I bought last week. I have a lot of parts in stock for it. I've been kind of digging those out as I remember where they're at. And I've been saving up parts for this particular drivetrain project. Some sort of LS and the 4L80E that's been here a couple of years as well. Over the years, I have picked up, I have 2 PCMs, I need to go get it, that are already, have the security unlocked, and I believe one of them has already got the 4L80E system in it already, because that was a factory install, so I just got to make sure my harness that I have is correct. In the LS Swap Dodge, I converted the factory harness. And then over the years, one day on Marketplace, I saw a painless harness for, I think it says 99 to 02 or 3. It fits all the transmissions. It gives you enough pigtails to do a 4L60 or a 4L80. And that would be, and is going to be, my wiring harness with a stock PCM. I've already paid to unlock it. We just need to, in this case, change the injected data and tune up the transmission, but my good old buddy Jeff will do that for me. So he has HP tuners. So choices, lots of choices. I don't have, living here in the Northeast, every LS engine that I get, by the time I get it, it's got at least 100,000, if not more. The coil bracket and coils are ugly. They're all rusty. Sometimes the ends are rusted out if they have the metal strap on them. The bracket, the powder coat's coming off. They're just ugly, and to buy all the coils, the harness, the bracket, this is expensive. I was perusing eBay a week and a half ago, and this is a salvage yard out of Texas. I forget which one, but they're new takeoffs, and you can make offer. I ended up buying the first set for $70 a piece. This is $70. It's an awesome deal. And after I got them and saw that they're absolutely brand new, there's no oil, grease, nothing on them. You can see they're bolted down and then taken off again. I bought 4 more, so future projects. And this is why I have parts in stock when I go to do something, because I'm always on the hunt for known things I know I'm going to need. I have, in this particular, the ATK 6-liter, I'm trying not to clean up a bunch of old junk because I've stolen a lot of covers off other engines to do other projects. This time, I found one genuine GM valve cover and one Dorman valve cover that this bolts right onto. I also have this set of black valve covers, and in this case, the coil will bolt right on here. But thinking about it, I had to go get the painless harness out of the box, and the painless harness plugs into the OEM coil connector. A Holley Terminator, I believe, has wires for each coil, so you could take these coils off without the harness and bracket, just bolt them on here, and then plug the Holley into it. So this would be better suited to hang on to. And something I don't like about some aftermarket valve covers, if you want to run the PCV system, in this case, both valve covers just have a vent. So you can run an inline PCV valve on one side. I already have one. You could just put it in the hose and then have the other side for fresh air. So you could make it work, but in this case, my genuine GM valve cover has a brand new PCV valve in the cover, factory, and the fresh air vent on the Dorman valve cover on the other side. So I think I'm going to run, again, I'm not going for any kind of looks. more functional, but if it looks nice, that's great. So I'm going to put that whole setup on my OEM style valve covers for this particular project. So these are probably the covers I'm going to run. This is a mid-rise, mid-ram Holley intake I was considering using. However, again, I'm not going for any sort of looks, and this black wrinkled intake would look better with those valve covers I just showed you on something else. I have a brand new Trailblazer intake, which beats this on power below 6,000 RPMs. It pretty much beats every intake out there below 6,000 RPMs, which is the range of this engine. So again, I'm not really going for any special look. The Trailblazer intake is unique in itself, but again, it's brand new, and I may use that. The only adaptation I'm going to have to do is this engine requires a 36-pound injector at least. I have 3 sets of 39-pound injectors, thanks to my buddy John, my enabler, out in the Midwest. So I'll use a set of those, but they're short. So I've adapted the short injectors to the Trailblazer SS intake before. I'll just have to do it again. So no big deal. I did install the ICT billet valley cover because there was nothing under there I needed to touch. I had saved this one from the last time, another project, because it was missing a bolt. It's M8125 by 16 millimeter stainless flathead with an Allen head. So I bought some. I'm only missing one. So right now, to bolt it on yesterday, because I put a drop of blue Loctite on all the bolts with a brand new gasket that came with the gasket set with the ATK 6 liter. I have just one regular bolt holding pressure on that, and I'll swap it out when the other bolts get here. It says tomorrow. We'll see about that. I had a, let me look at the brand, a Walker Products cam sensor. So I stuck that in, dug up a bolt to hold it down in the back. You can't see it, but if you're unfamiliar with LS motors, they had a cam sensor with basically the traditional Chevrolet distributor used to be in the back of the LS's until about 04.5 or 05. They put the cam sensor up on the timing cover, and the block is different in the back, so there's no hole for it. The crank sensor, which I put a new crank sensor in this case I had a Standard Products crank sensor. It goes over on this side above the starter. Black is for 24 tooth and gray is for 58. So this is a 24 tooth motor. So I put a black Standard Electric crank sensor because that's what I had in the box on the bench. I'm waiting for the timing cover. My local post office is holding it hostage, but it should be here in a day or so. I'm going to put it on without the add-on timing chain damper. The original LS's like this one never had it. You'll find a lot of the LS, now I have this loaded like the engine was running. This side is extremely tight, this side is loose. The Chevrolet racing team figured out that on D-cell, like they were doing a lot of road racing, the chain would want to fold in on itself on this side. What's tight under load, and this can flop around, there's really no big deal. The only issue came when they let off the throttle. They wanted to put something in there that would stop the bounce. Never did they try to tighten the chain up. If you're familiar with LS's, the chains seem loose, but they work just fine. They don't have to turn a distributor or an oil pump. All they gotta do is turn the camshaft. So that's why a single timing chain set seemingly lasts forever. They don't get looser, they start. This is a brand new one, and that's, again, it's loaded, but that's the way it is. The early blocks are not tapped. So if you had the engine all apart, you could drill and tap that right there. Or Melling, among other people, make a bracket that goes, there's a cam plate behind this with a seal that seals in oil for the oil passages. There's two different styles. There's one with regular bolts, there's one with countersunk bolts. To put on the aftermarket bracket that would hold this on, you need the cam plate with regular bolts. I have countersunk bolts, so I was going to have to buy another cam plate and take it apart, and I am not doing any kind of racing with this thing. It's just going to be a street motor, a healthy one, but again, I have LSs with 300,000 plus on them, and I've never had any timing chain issues, so this is going back in the package, and I'll save it for another project, but it was a consideration before I put the timing cover on. To install the timing cover, I have the special alignment tools. You can also use common sense, but we'll get to that when I get it, so maybe I'll get it tomorrow. Fortunately, the engine came with a rear main cover, which is awesome. I spent some time with a light and rolling the engine over, trying to read the part number on the piston to see how much of an overbore it's had. And I couldn't see the whole number. I could see that it is a dish piston, and they all seem to be facing the right direction. It's nice and clean in there. It's as if it's just been rebuilt because it's brand new, rebuilt. For spark plugs, you can spend $1 a piece still if you shop around, or you could spend $12 to $15 to $20 a piece. I bought stock replacement R44 TLS, whatever they are. I bought them online, bought an 8-pack for 10 bucks or whatever. And that is the factory installed plug, which most people run to at least 100,000, if not more. Some people just forget about them. So no worries. Again, I'm not doing anything special, but lots of people do special things with the stock plug. So I didn't go, platinum or anything like that. I just have the stock R44, I believe the TLS. Let me look. Ow, I like to be accurate. There, AC Delco R44 LTSM. There you go, LTSM. Light truck, maybe. SM, that's my name. When I finally get the timing cover and get that installed, I can go ahead and put the oil pan on and the dipstick and everything else. And I have plug wires. I'll probably make a different choice of intake like I mentioned. And I go ahead and rig up throttle bodies and throttle brackets and throttle cable. I have all that stuff. I'll just, as I run across it, as I'm doing other things here in the shop, I'll just stick it on this and get it ready to fire. All right, I gotta go fire up the golf cart and run down to the bus stop before it's too late. And the poor boy has to walk back with this 80-pound sack he carries every day. It's funny, we all went to school, if you're my age or approximately, we never were burdened with carrying a backpack every day. I never even brought books home. I turned out okay. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. I hope the storm goes out to sea if you're in the path of it. And Sunday, we're all back to normal. So I'll let you know. Take care.